You know, I used to wake up every morning feeling like I was running in place. Good job, bills paid, no debt hanging over me, but somehow the money never seemed to stick around long enough to actually build anything. And the worst part, I couldn't figure out why. Let me ask you something straight up. Have you ever had that quiet moment at the end of the month where you stare at your account balance and think, I worked hard this month. Where the hell did it all go? I'm Ben, and I lived with that question for years. It wasn't until I finally stopped pretending everything was fine and started looking closer that I realized the real problem wasn't me working too little. It was the invisible pulls, the slow, silent leaks I never noticed. Think about it. Those $20 lunches that became daily, the $15 app subscription you signed up for just to try, the $30 upgrade on something you didn't really need. Each one felt harmless, but together, they were quietly draining thousands over time. A 2024 Federal Reserve survey showed that 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, even many earning six figures. And the biggest hidden reason? Lifestyle creep and forgotten recurring costs eating 15 to 20% of income without anyone realizing it. That hit me hard when I saw my own statements. Not dramatic, just disappointing. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. So today, I'm going to show you the real reason so many of us struggle, and how spotting these quiet drains can be the first step to finally getting ahead. If that feeling sounds a little too familiar, stick around. Give it a thumbs up if you're with me. And if you want more honest conversations like this, hit subscribe. Let's dive in. Look, once that question starts living in your head, where did it all go? You can't really shake it. I tried. I told myself it was just a rough month, or inflation, or life being life. But deep down, I knew something was off. And when I finally stopped making excuses and looked closer, it wasn't pretty. Here's what I found, and I'm guessing it might feel familiar to you too. I pulled up my last 3 months of statements. Not the big stuff, rent, car payment, the little stuff, the auto payments I set and forgot, the one-time upgrades that became permanent, the subscriptions I meant to cancel. It added up to $180 to $220 a month, every month, quietly, automatically. Let me ask you, when was the last time you actually reviewed your recurring charges? Not glanced, really looked. Because a 2025 Consumer Reports analysis found that the average American loses $219 a year to forgotten subscriptions alone. And that's just one category. Add in lifestyle creep, the slightly nicer phone plan, the extra streaming service for the family, the daily $5 to $7 convenience buys, and you're easily looking at $200 to $400 a month disappearing without a fight. I remember sitting there staring at the screen, feeling this mix of embarrassment and relief. Embarrassed because I'd let it happen. Relieved because at least now I knew. It wasn't bad luck. It wasn't not earning enough. It was these silent drains I'd allowed to run on autopilot. And the moment I recognized that, something shifted. Not dramatically, just quietly. I realized I wasn't helpless. I was just asleep at the wheel. Think about your own life for a second. How many of those small, automatic pulls are sitting in your accounts right now? A gym membership you haven't used since January? A meal kit box you signed up for during a busy week and never canceled? A premium app for something you thought you'd use every day? Each one feels like nothing, but they stack up fast. A 2024 Bankrate report showed that 45% of middle-income households lose $100 or more monthly to recurring charges they no longer need or notice. And the kicker, most only realize it when they do a full audit, just like I did. That one honest look cost me nothing, but it saved me thousands over time. That recognition stings a little, but it's also the door opening. Because once you see the anchors, you can start cutting the ropes. We're going to look at the real math behind why these leaks hurt so much and what happens when you finally redirect them. Okay, let's sit with this for a second, because this is the part where the fog starts to clear.
Not with some magic fix, not with a side hustle or a lottery ticket, just understanding why these silent drains keep so many of us stuck and what happens when we stop feeding them. Here's what finally clicked for me. The real reason isn't that we're bad at money, it's that we're wired to ignore the small stuff. Behavioral finance calls this anchoring bias. We anchor to our current spending level and don't notice when it creeps up. A 2024 Harvard Business Review study on consumer psychology found that 70% of people fall into this trap. They adjust their lifestyle to match income increases, but never adjust back when costs rise or income stalls. That's not weakness, that's human wiring. And the quiet part, those anchors aren't just holding us back, they're pulling us under. I call it the invisible anchor. Every forgotten subscription, every autopilot upgrade, it's like dropping another weight over the side of your boat. You don't feel it sink right away, but over months, years, you're lower in the water than you should be. Let me show you the real math behind it, because once I ran these numbers, I couldn't pretend anymore. Take an average $200 a month in unnoticed leaks, subscriptions, convenience fees, lifestyle creep. A 2025 Bankrate report estimates middle-income households lose $2,400 plus yearly this way. If you let that $200 vanish every month, over 10 years, that's $24,000 gone. No growth, no compound, just gone. Now, flip it. Redirect that same $200 a month to a low-cost index fund tracking the S&P 500. Historical average real return after inflation around 7%. Vanguard long-term data 1926 to 2024. After 10 years, you've invested $24,000, but it grows to about $33,000. After 20 years, $48,000 invested becomes roughly $100,000. After 30 years, $72,000 invested turns into roughly $240,000. Pause. Let that land. That's not hype. That's compound doing what it does best, quietly turning consistent small actions into real momentum. And yes, markets fluctuate. There are down years, but the data shows patience wins. A Fidelity 2024 analysis of long-term investors found those who stayed invested through volatility ended up with 2 to 3x more than those who pulled out during dips. I remember my own aha moment. I was staring at my statements, seeing $180 a month in leaks, and I thought, if I just redirect half of that, what happens? So I did. $90 a month into a simple ETF. 5 years later, through ups and downs, it was over $6,500. Not life-changing yet, but proof the anchor was gone. I could breathe differently. That insight changed everything for me. Not because I suddenly had millions, but because I finally understood. I wasn't stuck because of bad luck. I was stuck because I was feeding the anchors. And once I cut them loose, the boat started moving. So here's what I want you to feel right now. Not guilt, not overwhelm, just clarity. Because if $200 a month, or even $100, can quietly shift from drain to driver, then you're not as far behind as it feels. You're just ready to lift the anchor. We're almost there. Next, real stories of people who did exactly that, and what their lives look like now. All right, let's stay in this feeling a little longer. Because knowing the math is one thing. Feeling like it's actually possible for you is another. And I want you to walk away from this video not just informed, but hopeful. Not in a cheesy, you got this way, but in a real, quiet, I've seen it happen way. Let me tell you about a couple of people who lifted their own anchors and what it looked like on the other side. First, there's Sarah, a teacher in her late 30s, single mom, making what most teachers make. Solid, but not extravagant. She came to me one day frustrated. Ben, I feel like I'm working all the time, but there's nothing left. I asked her to show me her last few statements. Same story we all know. $80 a month streaming bundle she barely used, $40 a month meal delivery for busy nights, $60 a month on random app upgrades. Total? About $180 a month she didn't even think about. She started small. Redirected $100 a month into a high-yield savings at 4.5% APY. Ally Bank average in 2025-2026. No stocks, no risk, just safe growth. 10 years later, that consistent $100 a month turned into over $15,000. She used it as a down payment on a small condo. She told me the best part wasn't the money. It was the feeling of breathing again, of knowing she wasn't stuck forever. Then there's Mike, guy in his 40s, blue-collar job, always felt like he was just getting by. He had the same leaks, $120 a month on unused gym, $50 a month convenience fees, $30 a month forgotten apps. He redirected $150 a month straight to a low-cost Vanguard index fund, VTI tracking S&P 500. Historical average real return after inflation estimated 7%. Vanguard data 1926-2024. 12 years in, through 2 recessions and multiple dips, he had over $35,000, enough to help his kid with college and finally take a real vacation. He said to me, "I didn't believe it would matter, but seeing the number grow every quarter, it changed how I see myself." These aren't rare stories. A 2025 AARP survey of midlife savers found that 55% who started consistent small redirects, $100 to $300 a month, reported significantly higher financial confidence within 5 to 10 years. Not millionaires, just not stuck anymore. And look, these people aren't special. They're not financial geniuses. They're regular folks who stopped feeding the anchors and started feeding their future. Sarah didn't wait for a raise. Mike didn't wait for the perfect time. They just started, redirected one small amount, watched it grow, felt the shift. I want you to feel that same possibility right now. Not pressure, not you have to do it all, just the quiet spark. Because if $100 or $200 a month, something most of us can find if we look, can quietly turn into real momentum, then you're not as far behind as it feels. You're just one honest look and one small redirect away from lifting your own anchor. We're at the end now. Next, I'm going to hand you the exact steps so you can start your own shift right now if you're ready. All right, we've come this far together, and now it's your turn. I'm not here to sell you a dream or tell you you're broken. I'm just the guy who finally looked at the invisible anchors in my own life and decided to cut them loose. And honestly, the moment I took ownership of that one small choice, redirecting even $100 a month, everything started feeling different. Not overnight, not dramatic, just possible. So here's your simple, no-pressure starting line. 4 steps you can do this week. First, do the audit. Tonight or tomorrow morning, open your bank or credit card app. Don't overthink it, just scroll through the last 60 days and look for recurring charges you forgot about or don't use. Streaming, apps, gym, meal kits, software, anything automatic. A 2025 Consumer Reports analysis found the average person has at least $219 per year in forgotten subscriptions alone. That's your first $100 to $200 leak right there. Second, redirect it. Set up one auto transfer, even if it's $50 or $100 to start. Put it into something boring and safe. A high-yield savings account at 4.5% APY, current Ally or Marcus rates in 2026, or a low-cost index fund like Vanguard's VTI. One click, one habit. No perfection required. Third, track it once a month. Not obsessively, just check the balance. Watch it grow quietly. That simple act builds momentum faster than any big win. A TIAA 2025 study on beginner investors showed that people who tracked small monthly redirects increased their net worth 18% faster over 3 years than those who didn't. Fourth, be kind to yourself. You'll miss a month, markets will dip, life will happen. That's normal. The power isn't in never falling, it's in getting back up and restarting. Compound works because of time, not perfection. This isn't about becoming a finance guru. It's about deciding you're no longer going to let invisible anchors hold your boat down. That $100 or whatever you find isn't just money. It's ownership. It's control. It's proof that you can shift things even when everything feels stacked against you. Right now, if you're still watching, pause the video. Open your app, spot one leak. Redirect even $50 if that's all you can do today. That's it. That's the flip. You don't need permission. You don't need more income. You just need to start owning the small choices. If this felt real to you, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want more of these honest, no BS conversations. And drop in the comments, what's one small leak you're going to look for this week? I read every single one. Thanks for being here with me. You've got this. One quiet redirect at a time.